Good evening, everybody. It is 7:01 p.m. and I'm going to call the regular meeting of the School Building Committee to order for June 8th, 2026. Members present tonight are myself, James Marshall, and Valonis, Jeremy Brothers. We have Bill Stevens in the room. Online, we have Adam Brewer, Ann Grosjean, and Mike McCoo, and Peter Bacon. Um, we have a forum and we'll jump right in. So next up on the list is chair report. A couple of quick comments before we delve into the agenda. First and foremost, want to acknowledge the fact that we unfortunately, Samantha Sperry has tendered her resignation to the Board of Education. And consequently her seat on the school building committee as she was the Board of Ed delegate for this committee. So I just want to take a moment to say thanks to Sam for her work on both committees, quite frankly. She will be missed. You guys have her letter of her email to us and the Board of Ed chair in your package for reference. But Sam, we wish you well on your next endeavors and hope that you stay engaged in the process with us. And thank you for your time and participation along the way. Second note, really briefly, is I want to make it a point for those paying attention and listening online that this school project and any funding for this school project has absolutely nothing to do with the Board of Education budget that you have been voting on for the past month or so at the first two referendums. Funding for this project is not in the Board of Ed budget. What you've been voting on is the Board of Education operational budget. What this project will do is have an impact on taxes down the road and hopefully savings down the road and reducing tax burden, tax liability for the town in the future through consolidation.
Can't get we suppose they're in the Zoom, but it's not coming on. Wow.
So would you see if you can hop down and help? Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so for those, I know there's been some concern in attending Board of Finance meetings. The work of this committee has nothing to do with the budget that's being voted on the Board of Ed. They're two separate and distinct things. And it's not doing anybody on either board, I think, or anybody in the community any favors in trying to consolidate or conflate those two budgets and those two projects because they are independent at this time. So, and the third thing, just really briefly, is to make a general note that the tone of the discussion has gotten fairly toxic in this community as of late. And that is very unfortunate. It's also very discouraging for those of us who are volunteering and putting a lot of effort in to try to make improvements on the community level on this board. And I'm sure on many of the other boards in town that are dealing with this. So I would just ask that we will all engage in productive conversations. We want questions, we will answer what we can, but I just encourage everybody to do it respectfully, both at these meetings and in online, particularly on social media, because there really is no place for it in this discussion. So I'd just like to reiterate that point that we really need to start treating each other as neighbors and work together to find a common goal and a common good out of all of this, because I think we can get there as a community. So with that said, I am gonna get off that high horse now and say thank you everybody for attending tonight. Next up on the agenda is community forum and question and answers. So if you'd like to say something, your participation is encouraged. Speakers are encouraged to utilize this opportunity for dialogue with the committee constructively and will be limited by appropriateness, staying on topic, and maintaining decorum. We will limit it to 30 minutes as applicable. But this is your opportunity to share thoughts on all of the wonderful information this committee is trying to share with everybody in the town. So I see three faces in the room. Thank you. Does anybody have anything you want to say? All right. We'll open it up online. Is there anybody online who would like to have an opportunity to speak? All right. Going once. Going twice. All right, I hope to see more of you in all of our upcoming community engagement opportunities to discuss this project. So thank you, everybody, for attending tonight. All right. Moving on. Oops. Oh. All right, we got one. Steph, you nick of time. Steph,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jim. I didn't mean to be slow on the uptake.
Good. And
Can you
then,
hear me?
yeah, please, absolutely.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say that I very much appreciate the rigor that you all are showing and
Just,
enjoyed.
I'm
I'm
sorry to
sorry,
interrupt.
Steph Summers Y Road.
There you go. Thank you.
And enjoyed very much your booth at Willington Day and meeting a few people there and having some good discussions. Um, I just my perspective is not to echo you entirely, but um, except you're a very smart guy, Jim. But I do see this as a real promising development in Willington's future, something that will mean good things for us monetarily, but mostly for the life of the community and educating our kids. And I just see it as being a real infusion of energy into the community. So I very much hope this moves forward and does not fall victim to any misinformation campaigns. Then I guess that's about all I wanted to say. I'm very eager to. I don't feel like I've got good enough questions to really ask the board about where they're at. I'm mostly here to listen right now, but I'm certainly reading everything that's unfolding and being impressed with what the developments are so far. So thanks.
Thank you, Seth, and thank you for participating and joining us. All right, I'll give last call one more time, just in case. We do. Luke, if you're able to unmute. All right. Going once. Going twice. All right, feel free. Looks like we're having a technical difficulty with another speaker, so feel free to reach out to the committee via email. We're happy to answer any questions or comments you have through that means. So moving on. Next up on our agenda is approval of minutes from May 26th, 2026. Thank you, topic. Sorry, Lisa. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to peruse them, but we'll entertain a motion to approve if anybody wants to make one.
Make the motion to approve the minutes of May 26th.
I will second that. Any discussion, comments, or questions?
Thank you for getting them out earlier. Appreciate it.
I do try sometimes. And I will try to continue to improve, but some things don't come in until the 11th hour. Any comments online from the committee members present?
Nope.
Nope. All right.
Nope.
Lisa, why don't we do a roll call on these since we have members online, and I just want to make sure we're capturing everything.
Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bacon,
Yes.
and Mr. Brothers,
Yes.
Ms. Roshan,
Yes.
and Mr. Salonis.
Yes.
And motion passes unanimously.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. All right. Too many papers. All right, so moving on. Thank you, everybody. Next up, item 5A, June 4th Think Tank Workshop Recap with Tecton Architects. I did make a post through our Facebook group just to spread awareness that happened. But I'll let you kind of give us a recap on what was really it. Thank you. Fun and exciting event.
Perfect. So we are gonna share our screen in a minute. It looks like we.
Yep,
Got it, that.
I missed it.
No, you're fine. Thank you so much. So we just have a couple slides update on the think tank. We met last week on Thursday, June 4th. And we were at Hall Memorial in the library. It was a great event. It was the think tanks for those that maybe missed our last meeting. A think tank is a big picture visioning workshop on educational pedagogy. So it was great to have all the educators. There was a wealth of knowledge in the room from Center School and Hall Memorial School. And we talked through a couple different activities. And so we'll just give some highlights here. And then we will package up the presentation that was shared with that group so that it can be posted to the project website along with the SBC presentation. But in general, the topics that we covered, we recapped where we are to date, gave a high-level overview of the options that the community had seen at Willington Day. We engaged in 2 activities to better understand student experience and program adjacency. And then we wrapped up with some open-ended questions, discussion, roundtable. We talked about the importance of reflecting your community context, honoring the Hall legacy. We talked about 21st century learning, and we went through a series of inspirational images and precedent projects to really get those big picture visioning wheels turning. And this is what it looked like. So we spread out across different tables within the library space, and we were asking different questions on each of these boards around the student experience by grade level. So every grade, pre-K to 8, had a board, and feedback was offered on all of those boards. We then took that and asked how we could implement the visionary feedback so that we had an action-oriented plan at the end of this. And then our second activity started to think about those different program adjacencies and how we can surround our programs with beneficial space, especially knowing that we're serving this wide age range, pre-K to 8. So lots of, as you can see, lots of collaboration, lots of visioning, and it was very, like you said, Jim, very exciting to be in the room and have that opportunity. So I'm grateful for the educators who are already quite busy at the end of the year and took time out of their day to participate. The activities, activity 1 was we played constellations to understand those visioning goals by grade level, and then we played how might we to understand the implementation of those visionary goals. And then alchemy was the activity that helped us understand the spatial adjacency, the things that you want to grow around your programs in order to make them really thrive. An example, and we'll create one of these for each grade level, but we just want to have one example for you guys to understand how that visioning is going to manifest itself in an end product. So for 2nd grade, the group came up with, these are learners who are caring. These are hands-on learners. These are exploratory learners, and these are contextual learners. And how might we provide that experience? We can facilitate exploratory learning through classroom space that involves inquiry-based centers. So we have an opportunity to think about our classroom in a unique and collaborative way to really manifest that learning model that the educators are valuing. We can foster caring learners through classroom designs that brighten the mood and some team building activities. So you can see some of these are architectural and some of these are cultural and implementation strategies that the educators, when they get in the space, as long as we can facilitate that, they'll have the opportunity to do those in the school. Textual, we learned that 2nd grade is really this opportunity where you pivot from learning to read to reading to learn. So 2nd grade is this moment where students are starting to apply what they're learning in books to hands-on projects. And then we can facilitate that hands-on learning through some exploration opportunities. An example of culturing, we asked, how can you build your ideal culture around, in this case, the general classrooms? What would help this program grow and thrive? What we heard were things that need to surround your classrooms are quiet spaces nearby, some connections to the outdoors, some specialized education resource spaces, unified arts intervention, toilet facilities, restrooms and storage, as well as a carpet or flexible seating option so that, especially in the early grades, students can move from projects on the floor space to a table space that. And that wraps up the summary, but you can see kind of in the background here, lots of feedback. We will be scanning each of these sheets, creating a template like you saw here today for the community to view all grade levels.
Thank you very
You're
much,
welcome.
guys, for hosting it, and thank you to all of the educators and people in the room that really were engaged throughout the entire process, right before a band concert, after school hours, taking their time. So thank you very much. It was great. Thank you, guys. Any other thoughts, questions by the committee? It was really an interesting time. So thank you. When you have those formatted, let me know, and we can make sure that we share the greater level of detail with the community.
Will do.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. And there will be more opportunities for community engagements in the near future, which we'll talk about a little later on the agenda, I believe. So moving right along, because we got a very long agenda, as I've been told. New business, 5B, milestone schedule review. All right, so in your packets, you have an updated draft prepared by Scott and Colliers, that looks towards, I'll let you speak to this, but looking towards that October 6th referendum target and kind of backing our way into that. And to that end, Scott, I'll just let you kind of talk through what the considerations are.
Yeah, so again, currently we're sort of identified, and again, not to get any closer than October 6th to the November national election date. So again, as Jim mentioned, we're targeting that for a town referendum Tuesday, October 6th. Working back from that, we've been working with the Board of Selectmen and town to identify the process for setting that referendum. And right now we're looking at tentatively a Board of Selectmen calling a public hearing on or around September 8th. With that, then they would set that, there would be a public hearing, again, potentially scheduled for September 15th. There would be a town meeting following that on Tuesday, September 22nd. On that date, the specific referendum would be set. We go into a blackout period approximately 2 weeks prior to the referendum. Continuing to back into the schedule, you can see there's a number of milestones as far as disseminating information. This committee to continue to evaluate the different options in front of you, taking in, receiving public input on the information provided, and really with a key to make a recommendation to the board prior to them setting the public hearing. Earlier this morning, we had a very good informal meeting, very high level meeting, just talking about process for an 824 referral. Now, an 824 referral is required statutorily by the state anytime a community is considering the purchase of land. So one of our options does consider a potential land purchase. So we wanted to talk about that process with zoning. It's strictly, does the potential purchase make sense with the plan of development, community development for the town?
Plan
of conservation development. Thank you.
Yep.
It is not an approval. It is not a zoning approval. It's really an administrative task. Anytime the town is considering purchasing land, discussions were potentially having that meeting or going to that meeting targeting August 18th for that referral. There was also some discussion about potentially bringing multiple options earlier on to planning and zoning. And again, that's something I think as public provides input, as this committee continues to explore the different options, is something that you may or may not want to consider. Going back further, you did hear the next targeted public meeting after the very successful meeting last week of the think tank is Tuesday, June 23rd. I've also started putting in a couple other placeholders. I think we just need to work as a committee and as a group to identify other avenues for public input and getting the public out there. So I've just put in a couple of TBDs as far as placeholders within the schedule.
Well, let's pause on that if I could, just to make sure that we can confirm, because some other items on this list, for example, a mailer that is looking to confirm that we need to update and make sure the purpose of the mailer is really to get the word to people about that community conversation. So figure one last time, we are targeting June 23rd. That works for all of us. Bill, does that work over at Hall in the library?
Yeah.
Because that's the intended, I think, similar to what, it'll be a different format, kind of, because it won't be it won't necessarily be a meeting.
Yeah, I already see
this Q&A. But have the opportunity to have that level of engagement that we did when we had that joint meeting several months ago. So
We have an agenda we want to put out before.
we'll do we have another meeting before then? I think we have one more, right?
Yes.
So that's another conversation point I think we should have. My thought process was you guys are going to hand that more like a presentation and workshop community forum rather than a public meeting, correct? So I think it's really going to be Tecton's kind of show to have that Q&A with the community rather than it being not gonna be a joint meeting, it's not gonna be a formal meeting. Similar to what they did for the fire department presentation recently. Yeah,
Just curious, we could put out there what we're gonna be talking about. Just,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so I think what would be helpful to that, and that is a good point, is even if it's just a one page, similar to what you did with. I know we had something, I remember an 8.5 by 11 graphic or something showing a think tank, or maybe it was a slide on the presentation, but having something like that. We're gonna get information out of the mailer, but I think it would be great if we had something that we could share on social media, et cetera, that might be a little bit more polished and saying,
No problem.
here's what we want to hear from you. Here's what the, anticipated topics are, however you guys typically run that sort of discussion. Because you did some great graphics, I think, around the think tank and explanatory stuff. So
If you do that by Friday, I can put it in the digital backpack for families and they can send it out through the town email.
even better. And Scott, you do have placeholder in here kind of following that. We'll have to think through that as we lose people for the summer, but I did want to make a note that we are looking, before we lose all of the children in school to their summer breaks in 7 more days now. My kids will count that down every day from now until then. We're trying to find an opportunity to get them engaged and have them participate in the discussion. Phil's been working with your administrators. It looks like we may try to do just a couple of brief exercises adjacent to field day. And adjacent to field day at center school, but for fall before that, during kind of lunch periods, more visioning and, opportunities for envisioning what they want to see for space.
Yeah.
And what a future school project would be. So, I think we're on track for that, right?
Yes,
You're all set.
We get the schedule today. Let the principals know. Just for confirmation.
Okay. And you'll have some, sorry, I'm behind on emails because we were on site before this.
We're prepared. 2 11 by 17s, the one for the center school students is the same as we distributed at Willington Day.
Yeah.
There's a very similar format for the Hall Memorial. It just has some more middle school level questions to ask that group, but essentially the same format. We're also preparing a 24 by 36 board that we're going to send to the printer tomorrow. That has some of our 21st century learning environments. We're going to ask the Hall Memorial students to put some stickers on those images or parts of images that they like. And then thank you guys there will be some folks there to engage with students in dialogue and better understand what they like about those images and how they envision their future of their school.
Did we just want to do the board for Hall, or did we want to do the board for?
That's true. We can duplicate it. No problem.
I think it might be interesting, quite frankly, to see the contrast. Um. Yeah, that would be great. So thank you for your help on
No
that.
problem.
And then. We'll have to find other opportunities. I think the community conversation will afford. I'd love to get I'd love to find opportunities to bring in smaller groups and workshops. But. Go ahead. Sure, Ed, thank you.
Jim, I thought it would be great if we could get some of the flyers up at the senior center, the library, some places like that where we might not, reach other than parents. I think we have a great plan for parents, but this would engage some of our other community members. I'd be happy to work on passing them out if you'd like,
Yeah, sure, we
spreading
can,
them around.
let's go over that and brainstorm that when we get down to communications down the road a bit.
Sounds great, thanks.
All right, perfect, thanks, Dan.
Yeah, have we published the site plans? Well, those projects, I mean, I was looking for it, my stuff. Couldn't find it, maybe I.
The three up, yeah, those are up on the town website.
I mean, because I have a little small one, but I mean, something that's much larger.
No, we don't have standalone graphics for it yet.
Okay, 'cause I mean, that came from the stuff that we saw earlier, but I was wondering if we could get that information prior to the town input.
What's on
Yeah, that's right.
It's not the larger version. It's the same handouts that it's the 3 sheets.
Right, you had like the different options and stuff we were looking at, but it's the graphics like this big.
Well,
But if we have,
yeah.
either 4 options, so, but a larger, I know CAD or whatever you guys had.
PDF, so they.
Yes, 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 you guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can't see that in detail, so if you
Sure.
want to actually see, hey, this is the layout, proposed, and some other stuff, you can actually see it more. So I think that would give them more discussion points.
I think just standalone like a higher resolution or a higher scale version of each of the options. That we can kind of put a label or title. Yeah, it's all simple, straightforward, the point. All right, sorry, I kind of usurped, but I wanted to make sure we had June 23rd locked down on that, Scott, because we don't have a lot of time between now and then, so. And then a big part of this over the next probably 6 weeks or so is budget development for these projects. I know Mike on? Yeah, Mike is on. So I know Mike has had some conversations with the business office about reaching out to both bond council and their financial advisor, the town's financial advisor.
Yes.
Mike, you on?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So we are starting to set that up. We'll talk a little bit about budgets later on in this from a high level, but the needs are to really start that process. So that we can understand more than just project cost, but actually what the impact is. It's going to be a couple of weeks of analysis, and I want to make sure it gets started ASAP. So,
Who's that Mike that's living in?
yeah, well, ultimately with twice, yes, through the business office. Mike, I don't know if you've had any contact further this week. I know you only sorted out who the contacts were through conversations with Donna last week.
Yeah, Thursday afternoon last week, we established who the contacts were that the town had a relationship with. And Thursday afternoon and Friday, Sherry started reaching out to those contacts to find the right people and get a conversation started. I did try to get time to get up to date with her today, but today was kind of a mad rush through the whole day, and I did not. So hopefully first thing tomorrow morning. But I know she's not waiting on me. I just wanted to check in so that I could report back. So.
Okay. So we will keep working them along and have an update every time we have a meeting. But my hope is that at the latest mid-July, because I want to make sure we have time for people to digest this. Because as we get into this, some of that'll be coordination around the 824 referral, whether that's a single recommendation to planning and zoning or whether it's all three. And providing opportunity between now and the point where we have to get to a final recommendation for the town to consider a public hearing or a public hearing at town meeting as to how to get the town to participate and inform that discussion and make a decision, or help us make a decision by providing insight. And I don't know what that looks like just yet, but that is the goal. So those conversations are ongoing, but I want to make sure everybody has the information to do that by as early into July as we can possibly get, so. Makes sense? Any thoughts on?
Yeah,
This-
and a date, when we wanna have that discussion or polling,
We gotta get a sense of how long, what the schedules are for the other bond council. I know we've asked, Scott, we've asked you to start looking at cash flow for some of these projects so that that
Correct.
can inform how the financing structure leverages what we do have for savings versus tax impact along the way.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have cash flows for again, the current draft budgets and draft schedules produced before the end of the month. So with those, that'll provide a little bit more detail
Yeah.
on what we anticipate when the expenditures will be throughout the life of the project. That should assist the finance and business office in, making those projections on managing mill rate impacts.
yeah, I think we need to determine the timeline that they have in the business office. So we can layer that in if we need more resources there, so we can, because that needs to align with the schedule, so that we can do that prior to the other action, EPC referral. Of course, so that those are aligned, and then we can get more resources, or we have time, or we have to really push to get the data, because we need that prior to that, or that voting.
Yep, that is the aggressive push in the next week to make sure that we're setting people up to hit that, but we need to have that meeting with the bond council and financial advisor first, to understand what we're talking about. Mike will reinforce that, obviously, that time is of the essence along the way.
Yes, I think we will have our relationship with those consultants ready very quickly, and will be ready or needing that sort of financial timeline and the cash flows so that we can put the rest of it together. Because obviously that's going to decide when borrowing starts.
And how much?
Right. Yeah. And
Well,
as part of that,
yes.
so, sorry, Mike. As
No,
part of
no,
that,
I was
we're
just saying,
also-
well, yes to how much? Yep.
We're going to do our best to also project the estimated state reimbursement. So not only will you know what your output is as far as cash expenditures, but what we anticipate the support will be from the state to help you balance those costs.
So hopefully we'll have some more involved discussion at our next meeting right before that community conversation as well. So in 2 weeks' time. Anne, you have your hand raised?
If we have that information in time by our 23rd get together, would after that be a good time to try to survey, or however we decide to see how the community's feeling while that information is fresh with our residents?
Yeah, I'm not sure we're gonna have that for the 23rd, but we might have some semblance of initial numbers. I want to make sure that I don't want to get into the pitfall of releasing preliminary numbers that are subject to change and then lead to confusion to the community. So I want to make sure that preliminary budgets are vetted and that we have an understanding from the financial office as to what the impact is before numbers start getting thrown around at large.
And
So,
yeah, I would think too that potentially some input from that meeting on the 23rd could impact budget or things we're considering in the project.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
thank you, Ann. All right, any other thoughts, concerns, questions about the schedule? Other than that, we got a lot to do. Hearing none? All right. Thank you, Scott, for that. We hit everything on that under milestone, referendum coordination, yes, we did. All right. So I'm gonna move on, moving on. Next up is 5C, operational budget savings through consolidation. So I'll kind of intro this and then let Phil opine, or kind of bring us up to speed, but we had asked this early on in the process for the Board of Education to start looking at what opportunities there were for operational savings in their budget as that could be achieved or realized through consolidation from two buildings into a single building. They had a meeting, an initial meeting with that a couple of weeks ago now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, something like that, maybe a little longer. And what I included, I have a copy of the email chain, just Phil and I a little back and forth. Just some personal thoughts for me discussing this, but I think, long story short, Phil did a great job in working with the Board of Education and kind of outlining what those positions, what that position change and that structure looks like. But Phil, I'll let you kind of advance that discussion from that, and then we can all talk about it.
So I think, just after our conversation, Jim and my back and forth, what we'll do is we'll identify the majority of the savings is to be on the staffing side. And being this years out, there's 2 parts to this. So the question is looking at operational savings from a staffing perspective. If it's now versus in 4 years, if this happens, right? And so we want to make sure that I can't guarantee the salaries in 4 years. I don't know who will be here. And so what we're doing this in 2 prongs. And a little bit of this security for the Board of Education, not to say this is going to be the operational savings and then suddenly you don't need it because staff will change. So we're doing this, and I started the work to do this in 2 paths. Path 1 is the projection to 519 and what would we need for staffing for that. And prong 2 is if we move to 1 school today, what would the savings be? What would that look like with 379 students? And so the range right now, and I'm not going to tell you any more information because I haven't even shown the board yet this yet. You okay, Peter?
Think so.
Okay. The frame for the 519 is under $500,000 just on the staffing side alone. If it's were to stay at the 380 range, it is closing in on 700,000. And the closing in on 700,000 is what Jim asked me to do. And that includes actual salaries of those people today. If certain people were cut because we moved to 1 school today, do they take insurance? Well, all of that business, and I have a number down. So the savings is just for staff is just under 700,000. If it goes to the 519, it's closer to $500,000. The other piece that and there's right now what I call the guaranteed. There were 7 positions. I thought my position would be reduced going to 1 school, principal secretary.
By reduce, you mean
Eliminated.
eliminate?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
No, mine would go for, sorry,
Yeah, I
clarification.
just want to be clear.
1, you can't not have a superintendent.
Correct.
Mine would be reduced to 0.8 is how I have it in here with savings. The principal secretary, there would be 1. And so because of that, you would have savings in here for that. And this is at the lower amount. Another secretary would be gone, an instructional paraprofessional, a library paraprofessional, 1 custodian and 1 maintenance custodian. So there's 7 positions in this that I kind of guaranteed that going to 1 building. And what I said was that what changes it is the enrollment. And so the second prong is the 519. If we were 519, or sorry, if we were at the 379, there would be, more positions that would be reduced. It almost doubles. So it just depends on enrollment. So that's on the staffing side of this. And then the operation.
Just because that's annual operational savings, right? That's not a one-time.
No,
offset.
it
That
wouldn't come back the second year. You and I have had this conversation, Scott, about this. Is it?
It's a permanent reduction. In the
It's a reduction that will not return the following.
Right.
And then the second part of this that what we did was we took the actual budget for 26-27. And we went through each of the documents and pulled out where there was operational savings that were non-staffing related. Things like, having 2 buildings and moving to 1. So phone, internet, heating, fuel, electricity, water, IT subscriptions, building maintenance, copiers, bus diesel, because we're doing the number of runs we're doing, summer custodians. We double all those things up. And then I did put the Siemens performance contract in here. That is something that we did 15 years ago, 14 years ago. And the last payment on that is 30/31, and that last payment's in 50 grand. It's in my operational budget, and that will cease after that point. So that's another big.
Sorry, what year did that sunset?
30/31.
30/31.
Yeah, and so that's $214,000 that was just on the non-staffing side. So what I said, and this is what made Jim a little squirmy, as I said, there's a minimum. I will guarantee you a minimum of operational savings of $500,000 based upon those things. You can take either prong, whether you want the 379 or you want the 519. And what I don't know, and this is probably a Tecton thing, and I have to send you the bills, it's still on my list of things, is to look at the energy savings, and if there is going to be energy savings. So that's kind of the high level where we're at. I will show the board tomorrow night on the second prong of what you asked me to do. If it was done today, what would it look like?
So, yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Sure. Yeah, so I mean, my concern was that we need to be able to, it needs to be defensible, and have the data behind it that allows the community to understand that it's real. Because the last time the last school building committee, when they did this effort, it wasn't this number. I think at the time, a lot of that was also sensitivity to positions that might be cut. We didn't want to identify, but it was just a big, okay, these are the savings we're going to see as one some number. And yes, we can have that summary, but I think it needs to be clear that it's real, it's real staffing savings. It's real budgetary reductions. It's an important part of the puzzle. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead. Thank you.
So if we were to move today, you'd be saving almost $900,000
Based on our current budget.
based on the current budget.
2 buildings to 1, that's
Right.
that's the ballpark.
Roughly.
Right. That's the benefit of consolidating these schools.
So, and could have better numbers with doing the energy analysis.
So,
At 379.
yes, I agree.
But I keep saying that,
Current.
because I'm gonna go back to this meeting. If it gets challenged in the future, if something changes, I'm just gonna tell you that.
Because it's gonna, you'll save less if there's, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
so if enrollment increases, and that was my part of the argument, because if enrollment goes to 519, that's gonna have staffing changes in the way we do things in 2 buildings too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be different than what it would for 1 building, but we're projecting for an unknown.
Right.
When we have a budget that's real.
Yeah, but for a differential analysis, you would do the case of 519 current situation. You would do it in a potential consolidated situation, and then have it be compared, we have the current enrollment in the projected operations with the current enrollment. The facilities. So,
We'd have to see what staffing would be for current. We had 519 right now. What would your staffing look like? For 2 schools.
I don't know if I've asked you to do that, though.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
from
I'm
a-
here after that.
right, from a comparative standpoint, that's the right way to have it there. You can't just,
And that's my argument to the approach, is that,
What would 519 look like in your schools right now?
here's what I'm gonna tell you, is if they're evenly distributed, you might not have to add a single teacher to what you have today. Because the class sizes, they are in the sections they're in. So it's not gonna add a significant amount.
yeah, there's a minimum scenario, and there's a worst case scenario. Kind of, for those enrollments.
Yes. Yeah, but yeah, the floor on staffing savings is 500,000. If enrollment doesn't hit that 500 cap, then it's rare.
Correct.
It's basically where that summary gets printed. That we can share all of it. I think we can compile all of that information and share the part of the analysis, but,
That would be good to have on that first community,
Yeah, at least from an operations standpoint.
at least for an operation.
And then we have to work the capital numbers.
yeah, so ultimately what I hope and what the expectation is down the line is that the way, we finance this in a way, we structure the financing in a way without the assistance, with the help of the advisors, that we either draw down the savings we have, to get to the point where we're not really paying on the bond or any increase on the bond until it's operational, are able to capitalize on in 2030 or 2032. So that it ultimately, there is no, my hope is we offset or avoid,
Right.
tax burden,
Yeah, and that's
which
why
I
I
think we will do.
having it online sooner will impact that, definitely. So the options will have different returns. Because when we can get that operational versus. I mean,
Well,
all
consolidation-
is gonna give us return on, capital, but, operational budget savings. Also, so when the one project with the new expanded site, Sandy, we don't have to be 100% done with the project to see operational savings. We will see it sooner before some of the athletic fields are completed. Okay, so
Yeah, and
at
that's
that
where
point in the project, that's when your operational savings, because when the schools in that year, when it's online, that's when you'll see it online.
And that's where the cash flow becomes.
Right.
Important, because we understand how much and what we're renting and when, and then when that offset for operational savings kicks in, and, so. We'll get there.
I'm gonna throw one more caveat on that, is that some of those savings that are in this budget that I just shared are on the chopping block right now. For the 26-27 budget, so that number could shrink based on, because there's 3 positions currently on the savings list that could be eliminated in the next budget.
Do you see that impacting the decision based data?
No, I don't think the operational savings, like you said, on the other side is no, the staffing side right now.
Okay, just curious, there's no impact, okay.
You're talking-
Check.
But devil's advocate, operational savings and going into the one will also be a way to bring any cut programs back potentially that the community were to see.
I don't disagree, if I present the number, I'm gonna just tell you both sides of it.
No, that's what we need. The more data we can get out there, the better. Any questions online or thoughts online? Hard to tell. I apologize. I don't look to the screen all that often when everybody's to my right.
We're gonna come tomorrow night.
Beautiful. Seeing none. All right.
We have an estimate on the energy operational.
I have to send them the bills.
Okay,
That's on our side still.
so after you get them,
After we get the existing bills, we can do a calculation for the new in the comparison, so.
do you think we could get that prior to the 23rd?
Yeah. Yeah, well, when we get the numbers for
Okay, I
the.
was just saying, assuming that you get them in, that we can have that data for the 23rd.
I think it's a reasonable assumption that we get there, we get the bills and.
That would be good, that would be good.
After this week, so.
All right.
There's only a few things going on this time.
Yeah, so I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think we're having an in-depth budget discussion at the 23rd. I think we're probably having, this is more about community engagement with consolidating two or three K through 8 school, the options on the table, the advantages, the disadvantages.
People are gonna ask more money.
I get it.
It's
And
gonna
I want to
happen.
make sure we can give them,
Yeah,
Accurate
as
answers,
much
so.
accurate information as we have, I think, we wanna have available.
agreed. Anything else? All right. So thank you, Scott. We'll keep an eye out for that pleasure. If you have any questions or thoughts, as
Yeah, and maybe just very briefly on the budgets, just to confirm, I know some numbers were shared on Willington Day. The numbers that were on the sheets are overall project budgets, meaning total complete project budgets, not just construction. So what
we
we're-
haven't shared any budgets.
I thought we
only the
shared-
percentages,
We only shared the percentages, okay,
Correct. because they were working preliminary,
yeah, which they still are,
Yeah.
but yeah, okay.
so,
Yeah, it's limited to the legislative.
yeah, it was just the percentage.
Just the
reimbursement.
percentages, okay.
No, it was just the text on slides. Yeah. Yeah. So when we finalize that information,
Yep.
or when we have that more kind of concrete, we can,
Yeah, but yeah, our capital will be, it'll be total project budget.
perfect. All right. I'm gonna stay with you, Scott, for the next agenda item, 5E, due diligence coordination with potential new site. What I will say is, we did, and thank you guys for coming. And for bringing bug spray, but we did, Scott had suggested getting, he wanted to see the site and, put eyes on it, well, to support the tech on team, the ability to walk the new site. So Mike had arranged and coordinated access to that new site location on River Road. So we did an informal basic walk just to put eyes on the property. For the first time, not on a piece of paper from an aerial photograph. So just to get a sense of what we were looking at, what access looked like, if we needed to get additional testing or, rigs out on site to do any exploratory. So Scott, I think I'm not even sure what we need to do at this point, but we can talk about what we've established.
Yeah, I think.
Potential upcoming due diligence, this critical path.
Right, yeah, I think from a due diligence standpoint, we have put out a request for appraisal services. We're anticipating those responses by this Friday. Look to get that individual or company engaged as quickly as possible. Again, in preliminary discussions, we have and are starting to talk about exploring potential geotech work. There is a phase 1 site environmental assessment, which is a requirement for state funding if you are going to purchase a property. That work is commencing this week as well, so we've got that underway.
This is site, I know when we talked to Mike Milano.
Thursday and Friday?
He was out there last week.
No, they're gonna be
Oh,
out
he's
there
coming out this
yeah.
week. Okay.
Yep. Yep, and they've been informed on how to access the site properly.
Okay.
And then in addition to that, with the design team, we're exploring, what the potential locations might be for a septic system and what due diligence we might pursue as far as that and potentially some geotechnical work as well.
And oh, slow down. So I'd also include, this is some of the due diligence that the current owner of the property has provided. Lot plan. Some of the work that they did related to that easement coming off of River Road. Just for general point of reference. Forget where we landed on. I think it's further discussion as to, is this gonna satisfy? Well, there's two tracks. There's one, what's gonna satisfy grant application requirements, and the other is what's gonna satisfy the town's need for safety and security on any pre-purchase due diligence.
Yeah, my understanding is the discussions of the information we have in hand would be sufficient for a purchase. And also sufficient for demonstrating the parcels that would be acquired for the state as far as securing funding.
Which would be great. Okay, taking this day. So those costs, if enacted after approval of a project by the town, would be reimbursable for
Yeah,
survey
yeah.
work, all of that.
Clearing
work.
the site,
So
survey
if we
work.
have what we have now,
Correct.
which is appropriate for due diligence, or at least for the grant application. On top of what's readily available online, obviously through aerial photograph and GIS maps, is that right? Mike, is there anything further on your end related to due diligence or purchase and sell? Due diligence need?
I do know that the attorneys for the seller and the town attorney are communicating back and forth on the final details. And it looks like the agreement, the PNSA, as they call it, purchase and sale agreement, which would be the next step, would probably there's probably going to be agreement. It would be sort of two stages. There would be an earlier stage of the due diligence that is beneficial to everyone happening sooner. The stuff we're talking about right now, like land suitability, and then a more extended stage to get through the rest of the public process through the grant application and all that stuff. So I haven't seen the final draft of that yet, but that's what they're working on right now. And I haven't heard of any disagreements. It's just a matter of working out language.
Okay, is there any sense of timing on that? For, I guess, initial drafts?
I think pretty quickly. I would expect to see a draft for sharing this week, I hope.
Oh, great.
But this week will go fast also. Like the last one and the week before it.
Understood, understood. Okay, well, keep us, or I guess.
When I know, you'll know.
No, and we will figure out what we need to do as a committee for vetting and approval.
Okay.
All right, I just realized I'm not ignoring you, Mike. I normally look at the screen or the camera, but I wanted to make sure I could open information later on in this agenda. Okay. Anything else for due diligence at this point, guys? Oh, in the back, that we're gonna hit it, you get what we need?
We also had to do some work with the parcel zoning as well as mining.
Yeah, that all comes administratively after the fact,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, we discussed that informally today about codifying the existing site and the potential future land purchase sites. And yeah, it's would be done under a special permit, but there are nothing we need to do at this point in time.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we have that on the schedule or just for a.
No,
it'll happen after
the before it's after referendum. So.
Okay.
It's part of it.
After, okay.
Yeah, there's no roadblocks in at least the initial conversation, like the matter that.
Jim, I have a question. Have you gotten approval environmentally for the site and for?
We will, we're not gonna do back and forth. Wait a minute. Okay, he's there, and, but to answer. Since we're on that subject, the reality is,
Yes.
that phase one ESA environment.
Phase one site environmental evaluation is underway currently.
When are we expecting the draft? Do you know?
I believe before the end of the month, I believe on the 22nd was the last report I received from.
Excellent.
Our team.
Yeah, it was really fast and efficient once you go on for the whole.
Yeah, it was 4 weeks or something, I think, 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, so I believe they communicated they anticipate having a report to us on the 22nd.
Even if it was summer, by before the 23rd of the year.
Yep.
Beautiful. All right, so all of that is in process and ongoing, and as we get all of this back, we'll get it all to you. Anything else? No? All right. Let's talk, we've already touched on it a little bit, but let's talk communications, all business, 6A, communications and community engagement. The first piece of this is SBC social media presence. We have been posting some updates. For example, we made a post about the think tank. And obviously notifications across some of the various social media presence, the social media groups in town, that the meeting's here, just trying to drum up awareness. It is getting engagement, which is good. Um, Obviously, it's always a mixed bag. Most of it is raising awareness. I think it's the real advantage of this. The more we can get
Yeah,
that insight out to people, the better off it is. So
yeah, this has nothing to do with the budget referendum.
that is a post I think we should and will be making in the days to come. Just confirmation that this is not related to Board of budget in any way, shape, or form.
Jim.
So that is ongoing. We'll continue to keep that up to date. Mike, yes.
Just not that it necessarily needs to be addressed at this moment, but since we're on social media and public perception, and we're just talking about the property, like all of the other big moves, even though people are hearing me talking about agreements, those agreements are only tentative. Even once I'm empowered to sign certain agreements by the SBC or whatever other decision, those are still tentative until approved by the taxpayers. So, I guess I just wanted to have that discussed during the meeting before people think that we have somehow made a decision to purchase property and that that's a set and done deal. It's not, even though there will be agreements signed, those agreements still have to eventually be approved by the people.
That's an excellent point, Mike. Thank you. And probably something we can distribute.
Yes, we have not bought anything, we will not buy anything without approval.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
can you, get the Facebook link on the town website? And maybe put not only on the SBC page, but also on the front page of the town Willington page under the announcements, maybe get the link to the Facebook page, so that way when you're posting things.
Yeah, I can get it on the SBC page. I can't get it on
Front page.
the front page.
Yeah.
That's my question. And that, like, I don't know how that works. It's like kind of a scrolling. As new stuff goes in, old stuff goes further down the scroll.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the formatting of the main page is, whether there's like an informational banner here, quick links, or
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the way to answer the question first is to better understand the goal. What are we trying to do? We're trying to keep all the Facebook, any social media updates also somehow flagged on the website?
No, just the, or that, Jim says that would be cool. That was not my point. My point was that, you know, the more people that are following it are gonna get those updates in their feed. So if we can put the follow us on Facebook on the front page, it'll get them to the SBC. So
Gotcha.
when Jim posts an update, it's gonna be in their feed.
Okay. Yeah, and I think as we try more to leverage social media because that is a way of reaching people, which I think is all good. I think we also have to make sure that we figure out where the disclaimer language goes because we don't want to create the misinterpretation that even though they are official social media pages, they do not replace official communication. We don't want people thinking that if it didn't get put on Facebook, then it didn't happen or that it's not a proper notification. Right now, Connecticut's laws about how the public gets notified about the things they're supposed to be notified of does not allow social media to be your official means of notification, which is you have to be careful to the subtlety, understand the subtlety of that. It may be an official Facebook page, but it is still not an official form of communication in place of required communication. So that's the subtle difference. So I want to make sure that people aren't starting to rely on Facebook as the means of communication as opposed to an additional means of communication.
Understood.
Okay, we'll work on that.
We will. Yeah, I mean, the goal, or at least my thought process in that Facebook group and social media is more sharing what the committee has already worked on rather than meeting. For the people that don't attend these meetings, getting this information out in another format that's already been discussed, rather than using it to provide first look information, which I don't think is the way we want to go at all. So.
Right.
Okay.
I think we're touching on it because a lot more people and new names on the screen.
Yeah, I do get flagged, I do get flagged for, page engagement and reach, it's only been out there for a week or two, right? So it
There's
is,
new names on the.
but it
new
is
names.
growing and we're getting, I think it is a part of the discussion. And I do see engagement, a lot more engagement coming along now, and I hope that continues. So thank you, everybody online. And for those watching, thank you for following along. Okay, we talked enough about Facebook today. Moving on to the next item under communications, Hall Foundation outreach. Mike, do you have any update on discussions about continuing to engage the Hall Foundation? Ways of honoring that legacy?
That is on pause at the moment. There was a significant death in the family in the last couple of weeks. I'm giving them a little space. I'll reach out again soon and try to reestablish.
Understood. Our condolences to the Hall family. So that will be ongoing and we'll find opportunities when the time is appropriate. All right, thank you, Mike. So next up, and I don't have Lisa, I forget where she is. She's off on vacation right now. But Lisa Eaton, next up on our is mailer number 3. We talked about it last week. We'd seen a preliminary draft. Lisa sent this along middle of last week, and given the fact that we have a date on it, I wanted to confirm that date and time of 6:30 is what we're looking at before anything went into mailboxes, before it went out to print. 6:30. Bill, does 6:30 seem reasonable? Do we like 6:30? The 6:30 work for you guys?
Oh, time, not the date.
No, not the date. The date is June 23rd
Yeah.
at 6:30.
That does work for us. Yes. We are holding that time in our calendar, but if it needs to shift up an hour, later an hour.
Thirty, 15,
No, I think that's why we picked it. Which is pretty good. So what I will say is, what are we calling this? Because I'd like to get that communication straightforward. Is it?
Yes. We are calling this community conversation. And.
So I'm asking that because I think I just want to make sure that we update, if you guys are okay with it, I want to update that school project updates and options discussion, say community conversation, but the architectural team, or something along those lines, that, so that it all jives is what you guys are putting together. Particularly if you do like have social media, like a flyer and advertise.
Yeah, I think some of the, like, we talked about earlier, like, sort of an agenda that, like, the.
Yeah,
Like,
with
yeah.
all that information. I just,
Yeah, that was.
I want people to make sure that what goes in their mailboxes is terminology the same thing as what we put out in other avenues.
So yes, so we are calling it community conversation. We planned 6:30 to 7:30 at Hall Memorial School in the Library Media Center. Our theme is what exists, what's possible, hyphen options discussion. So I think we wanted to cover existing conditions to set the foundation. We wanted to cover some 21st century learning. We wanted to cover some of the options to date and the benefits and challenges. And we offered a brief description to join us for a project update and options discussion. To voice your priorities, share your feedback, and to stay connected. And then we invited if folks can't attend, that the session will be recorded and be posted, as long as that still
Recording.
works.
Yeah, you're not planning on, are you planning on Zoom?
No, it,
I think the engagement in the room will be better.
I agree, it's gonna be hard. So,
And
I
then
can
we
record it through the owl, you have speak at certain spots.
Yeah.
And just not, so it can be recorded, but it's hard to engage on.
right,
Yeah.
Okay, so we can set up the recording, so it can be recorded, as long as you project.
Can you just? Can you summarize that in an email first thing tomorrow morning
Yes.
for me? Because
Yes.
we are on time constraints with this, and I just want to make sure we're kind of wrapped up together.
That's helpful.
Are
So,
you taking feedback on this?
yes, I think that's what we're talking about right now, because the hope is Lisa's not back till Wednesday, but this will have to go to printer for kind of a rush. We want to get this in the mail, you know, in people's mailboxes before that event on the 23rd, obviously. So, we need to kind of approve this with comments to update tonight and push out, we're going through the funding to do so.
I'm looking at this flyer, right? And this is additional slash renovation 95%, right? But that is with a full pre-K. So that's kind of, that 95 is deceiving to me.
What we have today, we have,
You don't take a full pre-K,
we have or.
right?
3-year-old.
That 95 would be great, but you don't take 100% of a pre-K student,
Don't have to.
for that 95.
Doesn't say.
I don't remember that conversation.
Yeah, you don't have to, I mean, the latest legislation, it says pre-K, specifically pre-K through 8. Doesn't say birth, it says pre-K.
I didn't say birth. I
And
said,
I'm just saying that in pre-K.
I said you got to take 100% of pre-K to get that 95. No,
No,
that's not what I remember.
say,
Well, it's to qualify for the early childhood education bonus, it is. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, professionals in the room, but it is, we've gotten confirmation from the Office of Grants Administration. I think for other projects as well, that. It is preschool. So eligibility for the project is if the project includes a preschool program. It doesn't, it's not universal, it's not all.
We've posed that question through a few superintendents, including, I believe, Phil. Phil, I don't know if we've ever gotten a concrete response as far as the clarity that we would like from OGA.
Well, no, it's, what's his, Chuck had sent along, confirmation from OGA for another school project that you're working on. Basically stating that eligibility is not for the birth to 3 piece.
No, it's correct, for the birth to 3. Yeah, I don't think it addressed full-time or half-time.
Gotcha, is that the question?
I'm sorry, that's what I was referring
Okay,
to.
sorry.
Yes, no,
I
it
misunderstood so much.
yes, except on pre-K and K, the only thing in clarity was, is it requirement to have full day pre-K versus half day pre-K?
That's what I'm asking for that 95, or is it gonna be less if you don't take the full?
So even if it is, so the reality is.
So you don't take a full pre-K now, from my understanding.
We don't, but the cost to include that. I think as we develop the numbers, is the reality is that 15% renovation. For this project is going to significantly outweigh and dwarf any operational increase. And Phil, we can capture that, right? But you're looking at worst case is the addition of 1 teacher for pre-K. Yeah. At 60 grand, 70 grand a year, 80 grand, something like that. Versus, I don't know what the numbers are, but $10-15 million in savings to the tablet project. By capturing that reimbursement.
It was within that range.
Yeah. But we can also show that offset as part of the operational savings that consolidating, you know, that's a piece of the total budget picture too, right? So if we're recommending capturing that savings, which I think would be silly to leave that much money on the table with the state.
yeah, if we
That
show,
is a cost, and we talked about that previously, Phil, like the addition of a staff number to capture that program would be part of the total project budget presented down. It would just come off the operational center.
Yeah, I mean, if we chose not to include pre-K in the project, we would lose massive funding,
Yeah, that's,
massive funding.
well, we will have pre-K. I think
Yeah.
the opportunity, so what's to be determined, and God, I don't think we have any timing on further guidance from OGA definitively saying whether it's full-time pre-K or not, right? But
Correct.
and we can't obviously project that. All we can do is kind of project the potential impact.
Yeah, I mean, Phil, we could reach out again and try and. Or do another email and see if we can get clarification.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately now all communications need to go through the superintendent's office, so it's somewhat tied our hands. But
yeah, clarification never hurt.
Yeah.
But I have heard a number of other communities in your situation are also including the 15% with the nod to pre-K.
Yeah.
Programs.
Yeah, the state statute does, it says, if an elementary school building project or a new building or for the expansion of an existing building with space for early childhood care and education programs that provide services from, for children from birth to 5, which pre-K is included, then you're entitled to the 15% percentage point increase. It does not speak to full day, half day,
Right.
the entirety of the cohort. We have projects all over the state that have 2 half-day sessions, some have full day, some have full cohorts, some have still the lottery system. So I don't, it's the state statute is ambiguous to the point where I think it covers basically pre-K, and we have, I'll find some, we have other emails from different districts as well that I think say the same thing, confirm the same thing. So I'll find those if I can find.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, but you know, there's nothing in the language that says it wouldn't. But there is, you know, potential interpretation of a little bit of a gray area there.
Well, the latest legislation though that they did where we had a space waiver. Taken, you know, not.
That's different.
Yeah, but that clearly defines it as pre-K through 8 project.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's in the legislative, it's clear, and then the 110 maximum limit is for a, what is it, project of a pre-K through 8th grade.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. I mean, I believe you will fully qualify for the additional 15%. But again, the state has not given any language outside of that statute language that says specifically this is the requirement. So
The email that the state sent, the bonuses for students that fall within that age range that are part of early childhood care and education program, it does not necessarily have to include students prior to 3 years old.
Yeah.
So there's no.
So, right, really the only question of impact is whether or not it's it's like an additional staff to cover it full time.
Correct, and there's nothing in our ed spec that is other than 3 and 4 year olds. It's not birth to 3, that's not in the ed spec, that's not the intention. It is 3s and 4s, and it's in the ed spec, I think it's 2.
So the discussion point is what is it gonna take what's the operational budget impact to capitalize on this?
8 full pre-K.
Well, what's the?
3 and 4 year olds, what's, if it's if you're gonna take half your 3 or 4 year olds, or you're gonna take all, what's the cost difference?
Well, and that's gonna be in the staffing.
And you don't even have to take all, you can still do, if you have 2 classrooms, you take whatever you can within 2 classrooms. But we do half-day sessions too, so I mean, you're talking about 48 kids.
But it'll be in the numbers for staffing, so you take that against.
Well, an easy number for staffing is $100,000. When you take family benefits, when you take a salary, it's $100,000 to take family benefits. So, I mean, that is 10 years is $1 million, but you're getting back. I don't know, 10 million, I don't know what the number is.
We will know. Jim was there between 10 and 15.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, it's like
Yeah, we'll calculate it.
Yeah, it's significant.
It's significant. Without it, the project would be untenable.
Yeah, I mean, I think the offset, the potential increase in bond obligation, or, you know, long-term debt obligation to offset that $10 to $15 million is far greater than keep the cost of one.
I think Jeremy's point is anything we can get because it's newer. As things come down the pike with other grants, it's helpful, but there's nothing out there at this point that says we're not eligible for it.
Or with force target.
So you're having a good discussion. But yeah, so beyond that, did everybody have a chance? I admittedly have not found to the language looking for typos, or any of that.
Jim, the only comment I have is on the renovation option. Again, by statute, right now the renovation option is estimated to be more expensive than the new options. Therefore, it would not qualify. So it would be very similar to probably about 30% of the renovations may qualify for state reimbursement, but 70%, the majority of that work would not.
I mean, that would eliminate that reno project altogether.
Right, but that's
the low end number though, so should we put a low end number on that instead of just 95 with the asterisk?
Or are you just looking for a disclaimer basically on this?
Well, they would reimburse on the new portion of the building, but they would only reimburse on the things that are listed on the left-hand side. I mean, it's a lot to try and explain in a one-page handout under that heading, but I don't want it to be misleading if people say, well, it's all three the same, let's just do the ad reno at 95%, because in fact, it's 95% of only the eligible, and in this case, you're not going to qualify to get a lot of that construction eligibility. You're losing eligibility because you don't get renovation steps. How you phrase that in this situation is a challenge. And I haven't come up with any magic language on that.
Are we talking more like town share here instead of reimbursement rate? I mean, that's really.
But this is.
No, I mean, that's the reimbursement rate on the project.
I mean, yeah, I know.
But
So that addition rentals, some of that stuff in the renovation end won't be state reimbursed.
so
The building addition would be, new construction would be at the rate, but
some of the interior renovations will not be 95% reimbursed.
all the repair and replacement outside of mechanical systems, roofing and code related issues. So all your electrical, all your plumbing systems,
Your flooring,
your finishes, your lighting.
right, it's
your-
not 95% reimbursed.
It's not, it doesn't qualify for any reimbursement. It's
Right.
100% on the
So
community.
that has to be on that paper. That has to be on this. Because people have to understand that.
yeah, so
Right.
it's because the cost of the ad renovation option is more expensive than any of the new construction options.
It is what it is, but it still has to be on that. So
Yeah.
you should be, that number should be 30 to 95% reimbursed. 30 to 95%, because the new will be 95, the old is gonna be roughly 30, 40%
Of the
Yeah.
project.
of the project.
Of the project, right? It's not your reimbursement area. Your reimbursement rate is 95%, but we're only saying of the renovation,
Yeah.
only 30% of the renovation costs
Yeah.
would qualify for the 95%
So, but-
reimbursement.
People care about the project, not the other numbers. They want to know what percentage of the project is covered.
And the budget numbers will work that through. I get,
I mean,
They're gonna look at this flyer and you know what they're gonna say, right?
well, they already have this flyer because it's handed out of Willington. They
Yeah, but-
share it on social media for the same percentages.
Now,
Yeah, it has. It's-
Yeah.
I mean, I think we need to clarify, I mean, it's confusing, I think.
If I'm,
In the detail,
Yeah.
the way that we've communicated this in other communities is we put an asterisk and said the risk to our NV status due to cost versus new. So they are neck and neck as far as total costs, total budget for new compared to renovate is new. So we've identified it as a risk to the potential reimbursement for renovate as new, just as there's risks with every other, each of those other options that they had shown. So, I completely hear what you're saying, but at this point, in my opinion, they're close enough where I don't know, the state may consider it. So if they were dramatically different,
Yeah,
I would have a different opinion. the other piece that we're not talking about here is that, if you do prove that new construction is a more economical approach compared to renovate as new, you're entitled to the higher reimbursement. So that's another piece to the equation. So these are things that admittedly are very important. We'll do whatever you want. So throwing that out there that it is fairly close.
So this does capture the up to 95%.
Yeah.
For that, I think what we need is to Jeremy's point, I think we need basically the disclaimer. Funny, it's the same language basically saying, risk to achieving renovate as new status. And risking, or as a challenge of that option is a risk to achieving renovate as new status and not achieving. Ebola. So I think.
Is that enough, you think?
Right.
I think it has to be on that
Yeah,
somewhere, because
I saw something.
they're gonna look at this and say, well, we're gonna,
And just so this
if we're
committee
gonna get 93%
understands,
there, but 95 there, well.
What's the minimum reimbursement would you get? I mean,
Well-
say like on the low end, if things went wrong.
well, again, we haven't calculated out that way. I guess I could. And maybe that's the calculation we need to do is say 95% on the new addition, and we'll assume only about 30% of the renovation would be what's the final number.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're gonna get renovation status. The other issue is the state used to, they will not any longer. They will not sit down with us. They will not opine. They will not provide an opinion. We can't submit that renovation package early and say, will we qualify before the referendum? State now says, select a project, tell us the project you want to do. Then you submit the renovation package. And if you can't prove that it's cheaper to renovate, the state's going to disallow it and you're going to lose your funding. But they won't do that until after the grant is filed. So it's kind of a chicken and egg thing, even though the numbers are close. If the state said, no, we don't think $2 million is not close enough, we're not going to give you renovation status, go back and build new. You'd go back to square one.
Yeah, so I think we need to present that risk then.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Numbers.
I think you do.
I think what we can do is show the work, right?
Yeah,
Do the work.
Yes,
what's the
But
worst
it's
case
just a
scenario?
liability for that
Yeah.
option, right? It's a significant liability for that option.
Sure. I mean, from the outside looking in, from the state's perspective, they're looking at the most economical way to deliver quality education. They don't really get into that debate of new versus renovated. They're looking at the finances, their portion of reimbursement for these projects.
So.
I think we do need to explain it though, yeah.
When the prices come out especially, I had the same argument for the first column. Because I would argue that the identified repairs, the repair
Well,
only, no
yeah.
project is not 65%.
It's
It's the same
the
concept.
same discussion.
So once prices come out, right, and from what I understand and all the work that was done previously, we're just identifying all the repairs. The bulk of them don't qualify for any reimbursement, zero. So that 65% to me is the same issue. It's clear that that's what our starting is, I think, for all of these, but once the numbers come out and there's actual numbers tied to it, then you can say, okay, you do or you don't qualify for addition rental based upon price. I know the state won't allow that.
Yeah.
Same thing with just the repairs, because 65% is not really,
Yeah, so
it's just what our reimbursement rate is.
Right, the 65 in that, the identified repairs in addition to rental, I think those percentages are false.
right, so we,
And that you're,
So
my opinion,
I think they're
Just
the
a window
effective
project.
they're preliminary is what it boils
Is this
down to, but for the purposes of this flyer, just to kind of.
Is it a non-priority project?
There is the disclaimer for the identified repairs and
building
all the repairs
systems
are eligible.
Yeah.
yeah,
We just need a comparable disclaimer for the 95% for the addition renovation saying.
I think that wording under that 65% should go under that.
Yeah.
can we get a rough calculation of the percent of what would happen if, what's the low end? These aren't covered.
Not
We can know
time to get to
not
that,
time to get
but
it.
it gets to that.
I think we. Our suggestion would be to add those few caveats, and then one thing that we could work on. Depending on if you want to share numbers, some numbers at the 23rd
Mhm.
meeting is, I've been thinking a lot about the identified repairs, and there was some really good input, I think, at the Willington Day too, from the public. Maybe we can model out something this week, and even just the framework for it as to how we would approach to communicate it, because it is a bit challenging to explain the details of that first option, because you don't necessarily have to do it all. You can do it in
So-
phases. I think I have an approach that we can.
Yeah, I think we need to flesh that out, because I know Scott had taken a look, at some of that preliminary working numbers, and really, previous committee had 5 levels of repair, right? Level 1 through level 5, and those are like, what Scott is taking a look at is really the level 1, level 2 priority repairs, the health, safety, welfare, thermal, maintaining building envelope. And then as what we're looking at for the next 20 years to identify, to really start to look at
On
those
top of your
costs.
repairs.
On top of just regular repairs.
On top of regular repairs.
Yeah.
And that's where you gotta, I think that's where we have to go.
The-
That option.
Agreed.
The picture that was presented already. And what landed back here was, hey, do a new roof and do some ventilation. And then it turned into fire suppression and electrical because of the amount of money that was being spent. There were numbers pulled together for that were. I think 15 million per building. It was a lot,
Yeah,
and I can share that with you, but it's the same perspective, like. It's a lot of it.
And that was just those, there are other priority items on there that weren't a part of that package.
Weren't part of it, and that's what I'm saying, like, it makes it real. And
Yeah.
people go, oh, it's gonna be that amount of money just to do those 2 things.
Yeah, within the budget information that Jim provided to the committee, there is the 2 pages from the QAM report from 2024. And that we just took, again, as he noted, priority 1, priority 2, just from that list. Totaled those up, and then we escalated those to today's dollars.
The last page of that.
And we also identified within that list of projects that we assumed would be applicable for state support.
Or less pages, sorry.
They're in green, but it shows up in black.
Yeah, it's 41,000, so after just priority 1 and 2. And I'll-
So, the priority 1 and 2, are those building life, castle.
Well, I mean, look at the things on there.
I can't read.
Can't read your.
Yeah. Replace ADA compliance, accessible laboratories.
Because certain building systems, what's the expected lifespan of those systems?
Correct.
And then how much life we have left in them before we would need to replace extra capital.
Emergency alarm, insulate, water heating pipes. Secure entry vestibule, monitoring and doors for safety of the student. These are all.
14 projects, we're talking about 14.
Yeah.
14 projects of 1 building.
No, you're talking about more than that, Bill. It's,
Are the green boxes under?
that's just what's reimbursable. Everything else, in columns 1 or 2, those 2 columns that the green boxes span, those are all the projects that we're talking about. Everything in those 2 columns for priority 1 and priority 2.
Right.
The green boxes are just the ones that are eligible for state reimbursement. We won't get any reimbursement for any of the other.
That's my point.
Right, yeah, that's why that 65 is not real. That's what I was getting at with Doug.
I think
With
it's
this
just,
other one.
that's gotta be really, really clear once the prices come out, like, what do we qualify for, and then.
Yeah.
Yes, this is our reimbursement rate, and everything qualified,
Yeah.
but it doesn't, so it's hard to present, it's hard.
It
Well,
is.
in order to make, so the building has, mechanical systems have a certain life with them, and so those systems. We know at a certain point, like based on the life of the system, this system was scheduled for replacement at this time in the year, in X number of years. So we have to have capital plans to cover that cost upcoming, so that should be in the capital improvement project. Structure, so then that. You have a budgetary number against, okay, so these are we know what those systems are, we know what the percentages can be, some of them are not reimbursed.
I think
Yeah.
The reality, we just need to do the work, and get the budgets out there.
Yeah.
We have to swap the next couple of weeks.
Level of clarity is important.
So,
Yeah.
but.
That's why I don't like.
Well, it's a snapshot of where this is now. The budget when they're developed, they're gonna clearly elaborate on that. I think we just need to, but that's what community conversations, that's our workshop, that's what these meeting discussions for.
Yeah, I mean, we're not looking at refurnishing stuff and that's not reimbursable, so that should be all clear.
I just think the top line, there's nothing that says Willington School Building Committee on this.
Yeah, I have that all circled
Okay, I
already.
just wanna make sure that's something that,
Yeah.
you know. Please join Willington.
And what were you gonna put for the caveat for the addition rental? We're
I was gonna say, potential liability for reimbursement. You,
Not all costs
not
covered.
all things are covered.
Yes, limited coverage or something.
Yeah.
risk to achieving renovated new status and maintaining eligibility.
They're benefits to me.
Okay, well,
Students,
what do you want it to say? This point, I'll say anything.
I don't know.
Hey, you gotta make it clear that not everything is covered under that rental.
Not all repairs are eligible, or
Not
not
all
not-
repairs are eligible, something like that. Yeah.
the full project. is
Not
eligible.
qualifies for 95% reimbursement.
All right, I will.
Something like that.
Not all repairs can be reimbursed.
Yep,
There you go. I like that.
all right. So.
Gotta say something.
I'm gonna try to summarize what I'm going to suggest for changes to this, and if you guys are all by consensus kind of okay with that. We're gonna get school building committee up top on the first front of this thing, and we're gonna rephrase that, please join us, it's gonna be, we're gonna make reference to community conversation and the language that you're gonna send me in the morning.
Yeah.
Uh,
It should be in, yes, will do.
and then I will, for the 95% addition renovation scheme, we will add the disclaimer that we just discussed, not all full project is not eligible for reimbursement. That'd be great. I'll be really concise with it.
I mean, yeah, because you could go down under the second page.
Not all costs covered.
Beyond that, I was just gonna add our QR code somewhere under questions, comments, email us and get the webpage, similar to what you did on the last one, because I think we should get that.
And then you can put our Facebook thing there, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You should be able to do
QR
that,
code, Facebook,
right? The square, whatever it is.
yeah. All right,
I mean, can we get the larger ones of these then uploaded on our site?
that is,
We can send
that is an
the
action item.
PDFs, I can't.
You send them along and we will,
Done.
get enlarged versions of those as a separate note. So if that's okay with you guys, and we'll press to get this out there, because we really want to turn this around by Wednesday so that we can. Yes, thanks again, Al, by throwing up.
One way to move.
We already approved our last year. This is just finalized, right?
It's just finalizing the writing.
If you guys are okay with that direction, we're gonna make those changes and have Lisa. Work to implement the changes we discussed tonight, and we'll get the thing out, because we know that. Because I think it's more important to get people out there.
I agree.
Then,
Just want to get them some right information.
yep. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you, everybody. We will execute that in the next couple of days. Marketing proposal from Tall Timbers. So Adam, I'll let you speak to this a little bit, but what Adam did was sent along, he had reached out to Tall Timbers. We had initially a while back considered getting a marketing organization on firm to help us with our outreach. This is a follow-up proposal.
I already.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should be leaving the outreach to the professionals. I'm sorry, but we just talked for 40 minutes in circles and wasted time. I think it's time to let the professionals do the marketing and the community outreach. We've reached out for a proposal, then we put it on hold and he's reached out again. So I asked him to put together a proposal that reflects our new schedule, and this is what we got. But I do want to get back to Ira and let him know whether his services are, we're gonna entertain his services or not.
So my concern is we're still in a point, we don't have 4 to 6 months timeline prior to referendum, so. Which is in his page 7, asking costs based on a 4 to 6 month timeline prior to referendum. We just don't have it, and I think coordinating that effort with another. I'm more concerned about the fact that I think it's cost of the project, cost our budget that we probably need to be conservative with at this point, given what we need to do. 2, I don't think he has the time frame to have what that added robustness would be based on what his requirements are. And my other concern is I think there might be opportunity for cross messaging, unfortunately, between the work of our architectural
Nope,
engineering.
I don't agree with that because I think that this company does that all the time with different consultants and this is what they do. So I don't know if I agree that it would be crossing over, but I understand. I'm just thinking outside the box here. This was something that was brought up, and it was this company was used at in Mansfield, I believe, and they were successful. So
Yeah, I'm one opinion on here. So what do you guys think?
I think our marketing is not great. Say that, I mean, we have very few people in the room here and probably not many people online. I don't know if this is the right avenue. I think we need to look at our budget and see what the upcoming costs are and see if this could work. And I do think though, we need to align some of their information to what we have. The latest, I don't know, I think there's benefit, but we have to balance the cost and what we other have coming up, what we expect. That's a concern.
But he wants to double the time. It's 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 6 months, we have basically 2.5 months.
Yeah, we have about 2.5
It's not
months.
even,
So
to me, it's out of the question.
So if that's the case, then you have to shorten the timeline, and then we would have revised costs, I'm guessing, right?
Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, but he had concerns about being able to be effective in less time, correct?
with our original schedule, which I think everybody sitting here was feeling the same way. But that's his concern was our original schedule with trying to go for referendum, but was it June 30th or our application by June 30th? That was definitely a concern for him, but I don't believe
Yeah, but
he
it's
was
been
as
2 months.
concerned with this schedule.
I guess, well, that's the question, because, it's been 2 months since we had those initial conversations, and I think we had 2 months at that time, or 2.5 months at the time. We have about 2.5 months now.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm just not entirely sure how effective it's being.
Can someone clarify for me the cost? I'm looking at the costs and I don't see really a total or it's kind of a menu. You pick and choose.
A little over $23,000, then.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
My personal opinion is we lean on the robustness for that. I think we have a team in place that this fee or portions of this fee would be better used by allowing for a more robust approach from the team we have and assistance in community engagement that way. I mean, because we are looking at contract extension. Well, that's the game 30.
And yeah, that's my concern. Given the budget we have to work with, the time that we're extended now, I haven't done the math, so I don't know budget wise, but I think we need to do that before we make a decision on this.
In all fairness, we did solicit a proposal from this gentleman months ago, and we owe some kind of response. So if we're going to kick this can, then we need to be another action item for our next meeting to make a decision. Ira has checked in with me quite a bit over the last couple of months in regards if we are willing to, are looking to work with him or have him work with us to community outreach. So if that's not what people think is best, then I will have that conversation with him, but I don't think we should continuously push this too much further.
I don't think waiting 2 weeks is gonna make his situation any easier, so.
I think we would need a reduced timeline in the proposal, and we would have to take the projected cost.
Well, we have his original proposal, don't we, for that short duration regarding application by June 30th, so I don't think it's gonna be much different.
Okay, but I think we need to look at the accounting and see what our projected costs are going to be for the contract extensions. And then I would feel comfortable making a decision one way or another with that information. But without it, I don't think that.
A second, I'm trying to bring up.
I also see a little bit of duplication with some things that we're already doing, mailing the newsletter and mailing our
Sure.
cards and all, so.
For what it's worth, Adam, the original proposal was $350 more expensive than the one we have in front of us now.
Okay. Again, I was asked to solicit their proposal. That's what I did. We haven't made a decision or talked much about it in the last couple of months, and I'm the one taking the phone calls from this firm, and so
No,
we need to come up with some kind of a agreement by the next meeting, and I can let Mr. Ira know what our decision is at that point.
Deal with 3 months from the next meeting. Yeah, so I would say if we were on a tight timeline before, you were concerned about it. I think you have to make a decision by next one, and if you don't, it's out the window. But I think and I hear what Adam's saying is that whatever questions the committee has now, you need to share those to Adam like tonight, so he can get back and you have all of those answers to make a decision on that next meeting, because really after that next meeting, it's not worth having a conversation now, so.
So Adam,
Yeah, we gotta just tell them, hey, you're 3 months, you got 3 months, you're gonna work 6. I mean, that's number one.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, that's.
So Adam,
I think your proposal is going to be within what you have right now for an estimated, right? I don't know if it's going to change much between the $350 more it was for the last proposal to the proposal you have sitting here. So if it's 23 grand, that's roughly where we're going to be, right?
both proposals say he needed 4 to 6 months, Adam. So the question is,
Can you do it in 3?
he has 3 months. Is it achievable? And if it's 3 months, what does that do to the cost? Those are the 2 questions. If the answer to question 1 is no, he doesn't feel he can have an effective effort in 3 months, then you can make that direction and say, sorry, we can't do this. If he can, and if he thinks he has an alternative strategy for 3 months, we need to know what the cost impact is to that. I was under the impression that he didn't, if it was 3 months the last time and he was saying he couldn't do it because it was a 4 to 6 month schedule. I think we're in the same boat, and I don't think we can move ahead with this unless he feels he can come up with a strategy that can be implemented effectively in 3 months or less.
It could be a very well just a copy and paste proposal, so maybe that's just copied over from the last one, but I will reach out to Ira tomorrow and I can follow up with
if
any
that's
questions and
discussed-
answers. Is there anything else anybody would like me to discuss with this gentleman when I give him a shout tomorrow?
I would just say to tell him, thank you for continuing to explore this with us. And we appreciate his efforts. But also, I think if the answer to that first question is, we don't think we can have an effective strategy, I'm comfortable telling you that from my part, you can just tell him, thank you, but we can't move ahead.
Good.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
We gotta check it against the budget though, I think.
I think once we get that updated proposal, we have that budget next month, next meeting,
We can make this.
we can make a decision, but we have to have that budget.
Yeah, and we need to know like projected geotech for, site stuff, because we burn it on marketing and not on that's bad.
Make sense, Adam?
Yeah, I got it. Just needed
Okay.
to come up with some kind of response because it's been months now that we haven't talked about it. That's all.
No, appreciate it, and thank you for following up with it, sir.
Yep.
All right, more to come next week, we'll keep it on.
That's on the agenda for next.
Yes, it will be. Unless well, it'll be on the agenda, it's either gonna be
You know,
discuss proposal or update. Okay, next up under communications, Willington Wire, what I will say is, this committee is not on the distribution for Parks and Rec, who picks together the Willington Wire. I have asked to be put on that distribution, but Phil is on the distribution and he forwarded along as the deadline for Willington Wire was this past Sunday. I submitted basically what we presented at Willington Day, so that'll go out as in the Willington Wire on behalf of the school building committee, just to get it up and out there. As another alternative. So we will have something, we will have presence of Willington today going forward. Every 3 months, we should be notified in time to do more than that.
And it's always delayed, so it's, you know,
Yeah.
standpoint, you're not providing a lot of fresh information.
Right, so. I had what we had available, but we will have a presence in the long wire, so. Then it's not information that hasn't been seen before, so. Again, it's more getting information out there. Okay, so what I will say is, all right, we're gonna move on to administrative, communication, anything else on communications? We have not received any via the email. If you check it, it is not used by this community. So, if we get them, you will get them. Oh, good. All right, administrative needs. So I am going to say what I did do and what I got was today I requested from the business office a financial report. She did send one along, but it was, I'm checking my email right now to confirm. So it didn't come out to you today because I had asked for updates, but I will just summarize where we're at based on that discussion. Because it was missing some of the recent approvals that we've had in our last few meetings. And it was tracking instead of certain things where instead of being reductions from the encumbrances, they were like an invoice was added, but the encumbrance still held, so it looked like our budget was significantly more locked in than it actually is. Just give me 1 second to pop that up. So I have asked for an update to this, and I've asked that we format it in a way so that actual invoicing can be directly tied to the encumbrance that
Just gets up.
yeah, so it just hasn't been doing that. So with everything that we have in place, we've spent by my numbers, $38,781.17 to date on approved invoices. We have $78,706 approved. So out of the $200,000 we are at about $117,000 encumbered or paid total. So we're at 80 some odd thousand dollars left, 82 and change. For whatever due diligence we need,
Will be contract extension.
the contract extension.
Which we need fairly soon. I mean, we're coming up on the end of June here.
Yes, and that is an excellent point. So that is for you guys. We thank you for sending along that prior. I think now that we have an October 6th referendum date, I think that was the big question. We had no idea what that was going to be. If there's any significant impact to what you did, let us know based on that new date. What we are going to need to do is discuss, because some of that is just meetings, time and material for meetings and community presentations. So we need to probably, I mean, we might be able to encumber a certain amount that is built against what we actually decide what the needs are as a committee, meaning if we have them attend 3 community vision sessions, these got fees broken out for that, I believe.
Yeah.
I forget how it is, but
Yeah.
we just need to define what scope.
We gotta know what that.
We have to understand what we can afford to pay in budget.
Right.
Tailor their services to that if we have to.
Yes.
What I'm trying to get at.
Yes, because I know Collier's had it, what theirs, I don't remember technically.
I'll just ask you both to take a look at it and we can review that, at our next meeting.
We're gonna, yeah, it'd be our last meeting really, because that's it with you, so.
What I will say is, I don't know where you stand, but you're not near what we have for contracted value yet. You're with recent.
No, and-
So,
Yeah, within my letter, I said, we will do our best to be effective with our time and, in deliverables and stretch that as far as we can. So, yeah, I'm not concerned at this point.
so with that said, we have this one, is this all on? Oh, sorry, I skipped over. So I skipped the financial report. I missed contract. I apologize on that. That falls on me. I was, or communication and all the chaos. You have the initial letter of intent agreement, right?
We do, yeah.
You said. I was unaware that Mike was waiting for me to do an initial review of that contract. I sent him those comments back, very recently, so it is in his court to finalize and vet that. I didn't see anything significant beyond the B101 probably being overkill for what this is, and could we have done B102? Yeah, could we have done something with that fine scope of work? Probably, but I think when we initially posited that, we were unsure whether contract extension, right, but resoliciting now being what needs to happen. Through further understanding, it is what it is, but the contract, I didn't see any problems with, but it's in my hands. Okay. So, we'll get it to you, hopefully before we have an extension for,
Yeah, so I'm trying to get through that ASAP.
Thank you, Mike. So that is still ongoing, but forthcoming. Financial report I just talked about, I will send an update. Mike, if you could follow up with Sherry and the business officer tomorrow, just to kind of make sure that we get that, because I'd like to send them along to the committee after the meeting, which we don't have kind of a clean version.
Yes.
Thank you. So with that said, and the balances, we do have an invoice here from Colliers for their work through the end of May for $7,170.90. That would put them at roughly 62% complete on the encumbered balance. So this was part of the 120 encumbered or built. Yeah, this is against what we've already encumbered. So
You put that in, so that's in that.
It would be a part of it.
Yeah.
It would draw from that.
From that.
We haven't agreed to
Yep.
pay it. As part of that 35,000 covered.
Yep.
So. One of you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve invoice, Colliers invoice, 0001181771 dated 5/2026. $7,170.90.
All right.
Why are you doing that?
Now we have to approve the payment as a committee.
You approved their contract for X number of dollars.
But you gotta, I think you gotta approve the percentage of work that they've done.
That's what my direction was from the business office tonight, that
You gotta approve the percentage, I would say you have to approve this percentage
the
of
work
work
has
they.
been completed.
It's customary.
Yeah.
To have the building committees approve the invoices.
But that's also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I just put my signature on things and pass it along, and that happens, that's, I figured you would.
It's. For the amounts we're talking about, I don't want to be the one to sign it. I want this committee to be covered, but
That's, I'm just curious.
I'd rather be open about it and do it. All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Lisa, can you do a roll call vote on that for us, please?
Yes. Mr. Marshall
Yes.
and Mr. Brewer
Yes.
and Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon
He's there.
Mr. Brothers
Yes.
and Ms. Roshan
Yes.
and Mr. Zelonis.
Yes.
We just need to hear from Mr. Bacon.
Peter. All right, we're gonna say Peter is going once, going twice. we are gonna say Peter is unavailable due to technical issues.
Yes.
So that is 5 yay. That it carries, so we're fine. What I will say, and this came in late in the day and you do not have it in your packets, Mike sent along an invoice from Holman and Conley, if I'm saying that right, the attorney for the town of Willington. An invoice for the amount of $924, and I can forward this along after the meeting, for work related to the, draft purchase and sale agreement and reviewing the letter of intent, and providing comments that were previously for the revised letter of intent. So it's the attorney's fees to work through the purchase and sale on the new property.
The new property, no, all
For the new site.
the new thing.
Yeah. So this is part of that. It's a part of our work effort or the project effort. So, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve payment to Pullman and Conley for their invoice number 459766 dated June 4th, 2026, in the amount of $924 for professional services rendered through May 31st, 2026. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
You wanna know software jazz?
Thank you. I don't-
Software jazz is child. Colette.
I don't know who that was, but thank you.
James, it was me.
No,
I second.
Yes, thank you. Any discussion, Mike, this came through you? Because you've been the one dealing with it. This, just for the record, is appropriate for work complete?
Yes, I believe I did sign off already. I wrote okay on it already, right?
Yeah, I got an okay to pay scribble. School building committee to approve.
Yeah, that was me having pre-reviewed it before you're approving it. Yes.
That is your name.
Okay.
Okay, so I couldn't read it.
This was for the letter of intent.
And that and the ongoing purchase and sale work, purchases and agreements for that project. Okay.
I'll try to write more neatly next time, Jim.
That's all right. Mine would be worse. Okay, one more roll call, Lisa.
Mr. Salonis.
Yes.
Ms. Grosjean,
Yes.
Mr. Brothers,
Yes.
Mr. Bacon,
Yes.
Miss,
Yes.
thank you, Mr. Brewer.
Yes.
And Mr. Marshall,
Yes,
all in favor?
thank you very much. I believe that's all I have today, but if I miss one, just yell at me and I'll get it the next time. I don't think I've seen any further. Okay. And we don't have anything further just yet. We'll get quotes on invoice on appraisals. Hopefully by the end of the week. And,
Right into the week.
we'll have to decide and make a decision and move on that. Shortly. What's the typical turnaround for those 4 years?
For an appraisal,
Yeah.
been seeing like 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how busy they are. I mean, it's really a case by case.
Okay.
I did ask for confirmation of timeline and if they could improve on it, so. See if.
Okay.
I'm getting permission.
All right, that's all I got, everybody. Not too bad
Yeah.
for there. So I'll move that we adjourn at 9:05 PM. Seconded by Adam Delonis. All those in favor? I know we don't need to, but all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Henry.
All right, we're gonna say that's unanimous. Thank you, everybody.
Aye.
Thank you, Pete.
Yep.
Meeting adjourned at 9:05.